Let's look at another type of compound interest. Remember, my name is Spusiso Kanyile from Siafunda. I want us to look at this next one, which was taken from the November 2010 exam. It was question 7.1. It says, at what annual percentage? We know exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for I. At what annual percentage interest rate compounded quarterly? That's another keyword, quarterly. So we divide by 4, we multiply by 4. Quarterly. Should a lump sum be invested in order for it to double in 6 years? Remember, we need to collect our data here first. At what annual percentage? We know that this question is asking for I. We don't know what I is. At what annual percentage interest rate? Compounded quarterly. Remember that I is always I over 100, I over 100. Now it says compounded quarterly. It simply means that we've got to multiply this by 1 over 4. When you multiply this by 1 over 4, this will be 400. So 100 times 4, it is 400. So it's actually I over 400. So you must be able to pick that from the word quarterly. Should a lump sum, do I know how much is that lump sum? Should a lump sum be invested in order for it to double in 6 years? There's something that I know. I know my N, it is 6. But this is in years, this is quarterly. So it means that if I divide my I by 4, I've got to multiply my N by 4 as well. So I've got to multiply this by 4 to get the actual N. So what is 6 times 2? It's 12 times another 2, it's 24. So this is 24. So N is actually 24. What else do I have here? Let's read this once more. At what annual percentage interest rate compounded quarterly should a lump sum be invested? What is the symbol that we use for something that we invest? It's P. Do we know what is P in this particular case? We don't know. Let's just call it, let's just give it a variable. Let's just call it X. Read once more. At what annual percentage interest rate compounded quarterly should a lump sum be invested in order for it to double? Whatever I invest must double. If what I invest is X, what will I get will be what? If what I invest is X, what will I get will then be doubled, which is 2X in this particular case. In how many years? In 6 years. Remember, it is compounded quarterly, so we divide by 4 this side, we multiply by 4 that side. Let's move on. Now we can write our formula. Remember, what we invested was X, what we are getting is 2X. So it's compound increase, it's increasing, so it's plus. So A is equals to P into 1 plus I raised to the power n. Make sure that these are the words that tells me that this is the compound interest. Reducing balance, compounded. So it is the compound interest. If it is a simple interest, the exam will tell you. If it is simple interest, this n will be inside there. Let's push in let's push in our values for these variables. Do I know what is the value of A? But we know that A will double. Let's just call it 2X in this particular case. It is 2X, it is equals to. Do I know the value of P? We said P, we don't know the value of P, but we know that it will double in 6 years. So let's call our P the value that you don't know. Into 1 plus, what is our interest rate? We know that our interest rate is always in percentage, and it was compounded quarterly, so it's over 4. So in this particular case, our I over 400. This becomes very important. Right, what is N? It was 6 times 4. In this particular case, it is 24. Right, this is what we have. Remember what we are looking for. We are looking for the value of this I. We're just looking for the I. Okay, let's move on. Where is I? Remember in these questions, most cases, you will be asked to find N or I. In this particular example, we are required to find I. Let's look for it. If I'm looking for I, it is very far there. What is the first thing to remove here? The first thing to remove is this X. How do I get rid of this X this side? I divide by X this side and also divide by X this side. So what happens if I do that? Let's just do it manually. If I divide by X this side and divide by X this side, look here, the x will cancel with this x. If I divide by x this side, the x will cancel with this x. I'll be left with 2 is equals to. Let's go over it again. If I divide by x this side, let's just do it manually so that you'll see. I'm dividing by x this side. I'm also dividing by x this side. So this x will go with this x will go with this x, and we'll be left with 2. So that is where it actually comes from. Take this away. I wanted to show you why do we have 2 there. So in that particular case, we're left with 2. Remember, this x is no longer there. It went with this x that I divided with, and this x is no longer there. I'm only left with 2 this side. So in other words, this side, I only have this part. What is the next thing to remove after this? Because this is in brackets, let me just start with something that is outside the brackets. In this particular case, it's power 24, raised to the exponent 24. How do I get rid of exponent 24? I find the 24th root of it. So this side, I've got to find the 24th root. In this particular case, 24th root. What is this doing here? It is getting rid of that exponent of 24. So in other words, we got rid of this one by dividing by x on both sides. We're getting rid of this 24 by putting the 24th root on both sides. So this is what we're left with. Remember, we are targeting that I there. What is the next thing to remove in this particular case? The next thing to remove is this 1. Now, if we take 1 this side, it will be minus 1. So this is gone also. That was gone already. So what are we left with in this particular case? We're left with I over 400. Remember, we want to find our I. How do we get rid of this 400? We multiply it by 400 this side. We also have to multiply it by 400 this side for me to get I. So to isolate this I, which I wanted to do, you've got to multiply it by 400 to get rid of this fraction. So I've got to take this and multiply it by what? In this particular case, by 400. Therefore, my I will be equals to. You don't do anything much. You just go straight to your calculator. You calculate the value of your I. Let's do this together. You punch exactly as you see it. Remember, this is 400. This is the bracket. This is the 24th root of 2 minus 1 bracket. Then it will give you the solution. Let's do this thing. Number 1, I see the value of 400. I punch it 400, 400. I see the bracket. What's the next thing I see? The 24th root. Where do I see it? Remember, I go to shift first, then you go to x to the power, that block there. It will give me 2 options. You see where you push your 24? Right, that's exactly where you push your 24. Then you take it inside the 24th root sign. You push the value of 2 there, it's only 2. Right? And then you go out first, then you say minus. Make sure that it is out. It is minus 1 in that particular case. After writing minus 1, you close that bracket. Make sure that you close it, because if you don't close it, you're not going to get your solution. After that, you do nothing else. You just laugh all the way, getting your correct marks. What is it that we are getting there? It is the value of 11,72. So what we get here is 11,72%. This is the interest rate for this particular one. Thank you.